tomorrow we are going to be having a Jeans Sweats fundraiser day with all the funds going to his outreach ministry. So wear your sweats, wear your jeans. Mrs. Wettenkamp will be sitting at the front door and collecting your money as you come in, and we can provide some much needed funds for this worthwhile ministry. Please rise.
You might be seated. LHS Chapel County Hispanic Outreach. So I guess it has to be with español, ¿cierto? Buenos días.
Buenos días.
Mi nombre es el pastor David Blas. My name is Pastor David Blas. David is David, right, in Spanish? So I'm here today to speak about our Hispanic outreach. It's an LCMS Hispanic outreach. So the first question is, don't look to my grammar, because I speak Spanish, so I'm still working on my English. I'm sure that you will look for that now. So have you ever heard about our Hispanic ministry? Raise your hand. How many of you does them? Good. We have some. That's great. That was the first question. So where did the idea of forming this ministry came from? Any idea? You guys are good to answer my question. Do you have any idea where did this ministry came from? Somebody say something?
Family impact?
Well, exactly, it came from the Lord, right? Because the Lord is the one who decides what ministry will be up or no. So, but exactly, He put these ideas on the pastor's mind. It wasn't me. So back in 2015, Pastor Matter, one of the pastors of St. John Plymouth, he went to Dominican Republic with some youth. They went to this youth, I think Matter is there. Matter is on. Gathering, and they were there doing ministry, and then some of the kids were like, okay, so we're doing Hispanic ministry up here in Dominican Republic. But how about in our backyard? We have a lot of Spanish-speaking people down in Sheboygan County. So they pretty much put the idea on Pastor Matter's mind about, okay, we should do something about our Spanish-speaking people down in Plymouth, down in Sheboygan, down in the county. So that's pretty much how that idea born. And from there, Pastor Matters sat with a bunch of pastors around the county. Pretty sure you know all of them because they do chapel here. And they decided to do ministry. So, okay, so you have the idea, and then like, okay, how are we going to get the money, the funding for this? How are we going to do this ministry because we don't speak Espanol? They don't speak Spanish. So well, they said, and member of the churches, they start our ministry. They have a pretty much solid foundation, like with funds, and then they finally said, okay, now it's time to get the guy who will lead this ministry. So one day, I was home and I get this call, a number from Wisconsin. I go like, okay, who's calling me from Wisconsin? I was down in Illinois, and I don't answer phone calls from other phone numbers that are not in Illinois by then. I do the same thing now in Wisconsin. I only answer calls from Wisconsin. But that day, I answered the phone. And there were this unknown guy, this pastor named Nathan Matter. I go like, okay, who's this pastor? So he started talking about doing Hispanic ministry. And he said, well, I called seminary, and they pointed in your direction. They told us, you're the guy to lead this ministry. And I was like, okay, Lord, what are you doing? So, well, I accepted their call and by that time I was a seminarian. I was pretty much finishing my second year of seminary, and I was starting pretty much my vicarage. Our vicarage in the Hispanic branch of the seminary is 2 years long, 2 years, versus the regular route is 1 year vicarage. So in 2 years, I had to finish my vicarage. So we moved to Wisconsin, we live in Plymouth, and one of the St. John parsonage, the one on the Division Street. And we started that ministry in 2000, what do I say? 2015, yes, sorry, thank you. So exactly on January of 2016, well not here, but at the gym, I was installed as a vicar for the Hispanic outreach. It was a beautiful service. Some of the faculty were there, and it was beautiful. That's pretty much how this ministry become a ministry. From zero, from nada, to what we have today. Okay, you should know this. What is the Great Commission? Who can tell me the Great Commission? I don't know the Great Commission, so you have to tell me. Nobody? You will get 5 points, 5 extra points in one of your classes. Who? Okay, well, here is the Great Commission then. Go therefore and make disciples of all the nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe all that I have commanded you, and behold, I am with you always to the end of the age. So, it says, all the nations, making disciples of all the nations. So that means from everywhere, from every place, from every language, correct? So, Sheboygan County is in a small part of all the nations. In Sheboygan County, we do have people who speak different languages, right? So Sheboygan County is a part of all the nations. And right now, what are we doing down here is doing the Great Commission. We are preaching, we are teaching, we are instructing people in Spanish. People are becoming family and becoming member of Christ thanks to this Hispanic ministry in our midst. The Lord is doing great things. The glory is always for Him. He pretty much is the one who's doing the work. I'm just His servant, His voice, His feet, who serve Him and serve the community. So what is the purpose of the LCMS Sheboygan County Hispanic Outreach? Of course, to preach Jesus, to reach to Hispanic and Latino families, to reach to those who speak Spanish, to reach to those who are hungry and in need of Christ. So for how long this ministry has been serving the Hispanic Latino community in Sheboygan? So if I said that I was installed in January 2016, so how many years? Do your math. What is it? 5 years, correct? Little bit over 5 years. So almost, well, let's say, have 5 years and almost a half. Something like that. We're not, in June yet, but we're getting there. So over 5 years, this ministry has been serving in our community. And some of you still doesn't know about this ministry. So it is important to us to know that this ministry is in our midst, that you tell others about our church. Because people out there, they need to listen to the gospel in Spanish. They need to be saved. They need to be part of that Great Commission. So it is my job and your job to help me to tell people who speak Spanish, you know what, you want to go to a church who speaks Spanish? I know a pastor, I know a church, I know a place where you can go and hear the good news of salvation in your mother language. So we've been having Sunday divine services. We pretty much started our first Sunday service on June of 2016. So in this upcoming June, we're going to be 5 years of leading Sunday services. We started at the beginning at Emmanuel Lutheran Church. I don't know, down somewhere. I'm not good with direction, like pointing, but Emmanuel Lutheran Church here in Sheboygan, that's where we did our first Spanish service. That day was also, we celebrated Cinco de Mayo and el Día del Niño, Children's Day. It was a big celebration, plus the most important part was the divine service. That day we had 70 people who came to church to worship and then, have fun and eat a lot of candies and get super hyper. Well, yeah, that was part of so that was our first service. But then, in December of 2017, they decided to move to a different church where we are based now at Good Shepherd Lutheran Church. Pretty close from here. I don't know, I'm pointing again the wrong side, but yeah, pretty close. And we're having our Sunday services at noon. That's our time, at noon. So I'm pretty much open in the morning to lead English services whenever they need me. So at noon is our Spanish service. And right now, because I have to blame COVID, right? Because of COVID, every church, their attendance are being fluctuating, up and down. We have some days where we have 20 people, 20-something, 8, 11, 10. Sometimes it's my family and one more person. But we're going to get there little by little. Even if there's one person there, we have to preach the gospel. We have to preach them the good news of salvation. We have to do the work, what Jesus called me to do. And he calls everybody to do the same work. Not the same thing that I do, but to preach the gospel. So since our ministry started, we have performed 11 baptisms. So that might not be a lot in 5 years, but hello. This is a ministry that we're not here before. 11, it's a lot. And I know some of our churches that have been there for over 100 years, they have a baptism maybe one every year or something like that. But we have done 11. And at the beginning, some of them, remember that I say I was a vicar? So Pastor Kretschmar was there with me because when you were a vicar, you can't pretty much do baptism. But he was the authority I got there. So and then he allows me to do baptism. So that was my very first baptism. Maria is her name. That was my first one. And then Pastor Schultz, Pablo J. Lopez. This was at St. John and this was at St. Paul. This kid, I will not forget about him. I have told this sometime, but I was there with my bulletin trying to lead the service. I have Pablito Lopez right here, and Pablito is flipping and hitting my papers, smacking my face. He was all over the place. It was funny and not funny, but yeah, but I would never forget that beautiful experience, even though that he was, making my face. And then Daisy, that was at Emmanuel with President Willie. He was there. And then this was also Emmanuel. And that day, I did 4 baptisms. 4 kids of the same family. And if you notice, these are big kids. She was 9. Pablito was a kid. Daisy was 9. She was 8. And then, some little kids. So we've been baptizing people of all ages. Ideally, it's baptizing a baby. But, we can baptize at any age. And then we have 2 more. Paola and Omar, they're brothers. And then this is my goddaughter. I don't know about. I am her sponsor and the pastor. And then another one here, so 11 total. So 11 new kids become part of the family. Become part of Jesus. Jesus become part of them. This is a little different. Some of the churches are doing early communion. I call first communion. So I know that St. John is doing that now. I don't know what other churches are doing right now, but when kids turn 9, I started teaching them about communion. It's not a confirmation, but this grant them permission to come to the table and take communion with us. So we have done 9 First Communion. And like you can see that this is Reverend Borakowski. I think he's leaving somewhere, or he left already. And then here is Pastor Safeline, Pastor Dulo, President Willigan. So we have done 9 First Communion. So 9 more people are welcome to the table. Confirmation. That was my very first confirmation. Paola Garcia Moreno, that's her name. And it was a beautiful experience to confirm somebody. So, but before, these people who speak Spanish couldn't get confirmed because they didn't understand the language. So now, Paola was confirmed. Maria Ramirez was also confirmed, and she was my very first baptism. Baptism, First Communion, confirmation. And this one, if you notice, so this one was inside the building, the church. Well, this one was inside the building, but this was in a small place. Why? Because of COVID. So we couldn't have people. So it was pretty much myself, my family, Maria, mom and dad, and the sponsors. So, and we did confirmation. It was different, but it was beautiful because we're still doing the sacrament. We also do adult confirmation. What? Adult confirmation? Have you ever heard about that? Yes. Why? Because they didn't know our Lutheran faith. So somebody had to taught them our faith, and then they do also their confirmation. And then we have done more than 9. I lost the count. There's so many. I think we are about close to 50 members in our group. We have done 2 Spanish weddings. There's Pastor Meadows again, Pastor Bear down there again. My very first wedding was in Espanol, in Spanish at St. John. And something beautiful was a Spanish speaker, a speaking person leading the wedding, an English speaking pastor next to me, behind us, some German words in the altar. That was beautiful. So 3 languages in one place. Even though that we're not speaking German, right, or English at that time, but that was beautiful. And then we do that was a bilingual wedding. That was a beautiful, but very long service. Everything was in English and in Spanish. They got married twice, something like that. Yeah, hopefully they remain married until forever. And then right now I am instructing a couple to get married. So soon we will have a wedding, a good shepherd, and also we are instructing adults for adults confirmation. Hopefully I have enough time. Oh, quinceañeras. I love this. This is beautiful. On June 5, I will have a quinceañera. It's not a wedding. Girls, when they turn 15, only girls, parents brought them to church. We do a special service, and that service is like a renewal of the baptism, their baptism, and like a remember of confirmation. It's a beautiful service. A lot of family comes, and it's beautiful. Quinceañeras, that's something that Hispanic and Latino people do, and we do that, and I love it. Oh, VBS, Vacation Bible School. 2016, we do our first one. I guess you know her. And we have 33 kids. It was bilingual and Emmanuel. And then I think Jeff and you guys were there too. So then we did our second one, and you know her again. And then it was in Spanish at St. Paul. We have 28 people there. And then that year, 2018, was different. Because we were doing our, separate VBS. And then that year, we did the combined VBS from all the churches. That was at Good Shepherd. We have 60 people there. It was beautiful. And then the following year, we did at Good Shepherd too. Last year, we canceled because of COVID. This year, we are trying to do VBS again. But it will be different. Since we don't have a lot volunteers, well, hopefully I get the one volunteer that I need. We're going to record everything, the lessons and the craft and everything, and we will put up that on YouTube so kids can go from home and do VBS on their own. What I need a person who can record the videos, put them together and then upload it. I need somebody. VBS depends on that person. I don't have anybody yet. If you have computer skills and are willing to do that, please let me know. This is our Facebook page. You can follow us. You can see pictures there. Looking forward to see what the Lord's plan is. Any questions before you go? You have any questions? No question? Okay. Well, thank you for your time. Please pray for us. You have a great day. I don't know if somebody will say something else. Well, thank you.